Well, good afternoon, everyone. It is the top of the hour. I'm just going to give it another minute or two to see who else we have coming in. Just for your awareness, this will be recorded so we can put it out on the SVA Washington Week website for those who were unable to attend the webinar today. While doing so, while we wait for everybody to come in, can you all place in the chat if, one, you're planning on attend Washington Week and you've already registered, and maybe what number Washington Week is this for you? Is it your first one, your second one, your fifth one? Love to hear from y'all if you could put that in the chat. Well, welcome, Erin. We're so glad to make this your first one. And Liv. Oh, we got a lot of first timers. Great. Well, you've done the biggest leap is one, registering, and two, attending this webinar. All right, Faisal, I think we can kick this off. How about you?
Let's do it.
All right, well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tammy Bartlett. I'm Vice President of Government Affairs for Student Veterans America, and I am here today with
Faisal Solman, Legal Fellow.
And this is the first of 3 Washington Week webinars that we have set up. They're not going to be too much different, but I will give you some insider baseball. The other 2 webinars will also include our talking points and maybe some great tools to have in your toolbox when you have conversations up on the Hill. So Faisal, if you want to go ahead and forward our slide deck. So on today's agenda, we're going to talk about schedule events. How do you schedule meetings with your members of Congress? Where to stay and transportation here in DC. So as you see, this year's scheduling events kind of looks different from years past. So we're starting off March 2nd with Inform the Hill, day 1, and then we have Inform the Hill, day 2 on Wednesday. And so these are the days that we would like you to dedicate making your meetings with your members of Congress. There really is no other events going on those 2 days that we've scheduled for you. So we would love for you to take that opportunity, 1, to schedule those meetings, and 2, for you all to experience DC on your own. There's a lot of things going on here. There's some great museums, great restaurants, and maybe you can connect with other student veteran chapter leaders and just find out other ways in DC to explore the city. So we really ask for you to take advantage of that on Monday and Wednesday. In addition, Monday and Wednesday, SVA's headquarters will be open for you to come by between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. We are at 655 15th Street, Washington, D.C., Suite 320. And if you were planning on coming here, we do have some special entry directions for you. Once you're inside, you'll check with the security desk. Once you're cleared, you'll be directed to take the elevators to the 3rd floor. And then, like I mentioned, our office is Suite 320. When you arrive, just knock on the door. There'll be some SVA staff here to welcome you and show you your headquarters here in DC. And the next day of scheduling events is Tuesday. So Tuesday is really our jam-packed day. A little different than years before. Between 9 and 10:30, we are working on finding some space up on the Hill, and we're going to have coffees and pastries. Really going to have you have the opportunity to have some pre-hearing meetups. It's also where we can have like a holding area for you all. So when the hearing room changes out from panel 1 to panel 2, we can easily maneuver you all down to the correct room, and we can all find our seats for panel 2. Now, like I've mentioned, the hearing does start at 10 a.m., but that is with panel 1, and that is with the VFW. And so that room will be packed with VFW members. So we just want to give them the respect and just let them have their hearing with all their members. And then when they swap out with panel 2, SVA will be on panel 2 with a handful of other veteran serving organizations, and SVA staff will help move you from that coffee and connections time down to that hearing room and find some seats so we all can sit together. Shortly after that, we will have a lunch and chapter networking. And that will be our opportunity to chat about what you heard at the hearing, what questions you may have about the whole process, and really, again, another time to network even further. And we're looking to have that done somewhere between 4 and 5 o'clock, again, to give you the opportunity to explore DC. I highly recommend that you download the SVA app to keep updated on all current information. There will be time on Monday and Wednesday when Faisal and I will be in between meetings, and we're going to kind of hold like little impromptu office hours in some of the cafeteria spaces, either on the Senate or the House side, depending where you are, or where we are, sorry, for you to have the opportunity to sit down and maybe have some one-on-one time with us. It's something new we're going to try out this year. We talked amongst each other that that was something we really look forward from last year, would have taken the opportunity to do so. So download the app. We'll be pushing out a lot of the messaging around Washington Week through the app once we get closer. I'm going to turn it over to Faisal.
Thank you, Tammy. All right, scheduling your meetings. Step one, all the links are provided here on the screen for you. So before you schedule a meeting, you got to figure out who your member of Congress is, and going to that link, you can do that. So it would ask you to put in your address or your zip code, and it will find a particular member. If you don't know it already, you're a particular member of Congress. After you're done with that, proceed to step 2. Now, here there's a Google link where you can confirm whether or not a meeting has already been scheduled with your member. SVA, we have the government affairs team here, Tammy and I, we've scheduled some meetings already with certain members, and it's populated in that table already. So if you don't see a meeting scheduled, go ahead and proceed with that scheduling. And if a meeting is already scheduled on that table and you want to attend beforehand and meet up, just email me or Tammy. The information is on that table. And if you proceed with scheduling and then you make if you're successful in scheduling a date with your representative or your staffer, fill that in the table, please. And any other registrants that are attending Washington Week from your district, they can join you. And after you figure out who your member of Congress is, you could contact the office by clicking on the Senate link right there and the House link right there to contact your member of Congress, and then schedule a meeting with them. Now, in your outreach, you would want to see if you can get in contact with the scheduler there. And if you're unable to do that, I suggest giving a call back. Some of the offices do have emails, and if anything, you can always ask for an email to the scheduler. And in your email, you would want to include your name, your address, your university, just to show that you're a constituency of your district. You would also want to discuss that you would like to discuss SVA policy priorities, which we'll be talking on in further webinars, and then also the dates you would want to meet. So in this case, that Monday and Wednesday, the March 2nd and March 4th, that would be your Inform the Hill days. So you would want to schedule your meeting on March 2nd or March 4th. After the meetings are over, we'll follow up with other webinars to follow up, confirm, hey, just reaching out as we get closer to the Washington Week. I would like to confirm the room. But on the next slide here, I actually provided a template for you. if you're able to email your member of Congress. So good morning, good afternoon. My name is blank. I'm currently a student at blank and blank. I'll be in Washington Week for Student Veterans of America's Washington Week on March, and we'll have to schedule a meeting with your office with their staff on either March 2nd or Wednesday, March 4th at your convenience and discuss student veteran policies that are affecting those in your district and just to end salutation. So feel free to use this template, feel free to adjust it as you wish to make it more applicable to you, and go ahead and proceed with making your meetings. And if once you do make your meetings, please fill it out in the Google document. So again, here's a little screen grab of what the Google document looks like. So right now, just for the state of Alabama, we have your 2 senators and your 7 representatives. So currently, we do not have a meeting scheduled with any of these offices. However, if any attendees from Alabama do reach out and get a meeting confirmed, you could use a Google Doc to fill it in here. Now on that same Google Doc, there are several members that are already populated, some of which SBA has already has meetings with. But if you're a constituent of any of these states, and with this being your member of Congress, so Representative Mike Boss, Representative Mark Takano, Derek Van Orden, Chris Pappas, Mike Johnson, Steve Scalise, Catherine Clark, Hakeem Jeffries, Tom Emmer, and other senators on the screen. Some of these we already have meetings scheduled with. And if you would like to attend, because you're a member of the district, please email Tammy or I, and we can add you to the attendance roster when we follow up with them before as we get closer. Tammy, is there anything else you want to add on this? You did.
Can you forward to the next slide so they can see what that Google
Yeah.
Doc looks
Oh, yes.
like?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here we have a meeting. We're trying to get one scheduled with Senator Blumenthal out of Connecticut. So email Tammy or I. Now, also just one thing I want to make note. So once you fill out this Google Doc, if you get a meeting scheduled with your member, on the far right end, there's a notes section. Please include just a point of contact information, either for yourself, whatever you feel most comfortable with, so that any other people that would like to attend your meeting, or if we need to get in contact with you, we're able to do so. It will just make things easier and make sure that all the meetings are scheduled and that anyone that wants to join, they're able to join.
So where to stay in DC? There are a lot of places. Some places are really close by, and some places are a little further away. Also would depend on your price point and your budget for coming here to DC, what that looks like. So there are many options for accommodations here in and around DC, but keep in mind where all the Washington Week events are taking place. Like I mentioned, SVA headquarters is in the downtown area. The Inform the Hill meetings will be up on Capitol Hill. The Coffee and Connections event will be on the Senate side. And our luncheon event will also be around that Upper Hill area. So just keep that in mind as you're planning out where to stay. Also, maybe it might be easier for you to split a hotel room with someone that you know, maybe from Leadership Institute or from your school. So just keep that in mind. That might help with your budget a little bit. But as you're securing your accommodations, if you can, stay downtown or up toward Capitol Hill. It will definitely make travel faster and less complicated. But if you do plan to stay further away from the action in Washington Week, please familiarize yourself with many of the transportation options available here in the district. From buses to Metro to Uber and Lyft, there's a lot of options to get around here in DC. So just download those apps. I know I have the Metro app on my phone, but there's also taxis, rideshare, rail cars. Rental cars can be tricky because parking on the hill is tricky. But walking and reeling around DC is something that happens all year round, even with the amount of snow we recently had.
And speaking of walking, we'll note this in future webinars as well. Please wear comfortable shoes.
Yes. As you're packing for DC, please keep in mind business attire. Our next webinar will have a list of what that looks like for everyone. And yes, cannot speak that highly enough. Faisal, thank you for bringing that up. Comfortable footwear. And that is all we have for today's webinar. I just want to reiterate the Google Doc is something new we're trying this year, so please be patient with us. If you have any after action about the Google Doc, we are welcome to hear your feedback. We may not be able to change it for this year, just not trying to confuse everyone. But just keep in mind, this is something we want to try this year to help manage everybody who's coming in and ensure that the members only get one meeting with SBA outside of 2 or 3 or 6. So yeah, that's something new we're trying out this year. And I see Chris has a question.
Yes. Hi, how are you? My name is Christopher Costa. I'm the president for the SVA Orlando Kaiser chapter. And this will be my first time going. My question is, are we going to receive an email with all of this information and the Google Docs and how to get in contact with you guys as well?
So Chris, have you already registered?
Yes.
Okay. I do know your registration email kickback should have at least our email addresses on it, but you should be receiving an email here in the next day or two with this
Okay.
Google link. Once you do register, then that Google link will be established in an email for you.
Okay.
If not, I did throw it in the chat.
Okay, awesome.
Also,
I'll
this
take a look
slide
at it.
deck.
Thank you.
Yeah. Also, somebody asked about the slide deck. This webinar slide deck will be emailed out to all those who registered for today's webinar as a follow-up, and then the recording of this will be added to the Washington SBA website. But great question. Anyone else? Faisal, do you want to go back to our email addresses one more time? Yep, so there you go. Our next webinar will be Friday at noon. So you can go ahead and find that link right back on the Washington Week website. And for Friday, we'll have some additional information, kind of like a follow-up. So now that you've made the meeting, what do you talk about? How do you talk about it? How do you take your lived experience and turn that into a conversation with SBA's talking points? So we'll have that opportunity to walk through that and dive a little deeper into what to pack for Washington Week. Faisal, do you have anything else to add?
Not that I could think of. Just embrace the experience. It is going to be a very hectic 3 days. But again, the whole point of this experience is to remind you that you're able to, to advocate and legislate on your own capacity. Like this experience of you making these meetings. Speaking of which, if you have any troubles trying to get in contact with offices, please reach out to Tammy and I. We'll see if we could tap those offices to say, hey, we had a student reach out about making a meeting. But just keep it updated, and we're here for you all. So thank you. Yep, Deontay.
Hi, Deontay Johnson. I'm the chapter president for Bronx Community College in New York for the SBA. And I was just curious, as you were saying that we were able to be advocate, there were certain things I want to talk to my legislator about, specifically pertaining to New York. Is that okay? But also, what topics about the SBA policies would we be discussing? Is it our own or specifically what the SBA has intended?
Great question, Deontay. So we will have talking points for you all. Many of them may look familiar to last year. One of them is an advocacy effort for book stipend adjustment. The other is another advocacy effort for Congress on a student success grant. And third is an ask for Congress when it comes to VA work study reform and modernization. But if you feel that there's something that's more in tune to your campus or your experience, obviously with those 3 topics I just mentioned, if you have lived experience, like I said, Friday, we're going to talk about how to take your lived experience and those talking points and craft it into that conversation. But if you have something additional, feel free to take a few minutes of that conversation and let them know what you're facing back on your campus. This is your opportunity as their constituent to bring issues or best practices that are going on in your community or on campus that either can be replicated or things that need to be aware of a solution. And again, when bringing up issues, it's best to, when you go to the Hill and have those conversations, to also come with a solution. And we'll talk more about that on Friday.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else?
I just had a quick question. So to get to one of the senators or representative, I get in contact with you guys first and then reach out to them, or how do I go about doing that? Because I live in Florida, and the senator that is representing our district is Senator Rick Scott, because he represents Central Florida.
So I'd first recommend looking at that Google link and to see if a meeting is already established for that representative or senator. And if so, contact the person who set up that meeting, Faisal, myself, or maybe someone else from that state or district. If you don't see anyone, go ahead and take advantage of kind of making yourself that POC. And then you can, I think on that Senate website and the House of Representative website, that contact web link I put into the chat, that will help you find out the office phone number. And once you call the office phone number, just say, hey, I'm looking to set up a meeting. I'll be there in March. Can I have the email of your veteran or higher ed staffer so I can go ahead and make that meeting?
All right,
If
thank you.
Yeah, if you go that route, Chris, or anyone on this call, and you find that you're hitting a barrier and no one's replying to you, please let Faisal and I know. And we do have access to like direct names and emails that we can give you to help move that process further along quicker.
And once you do get that meeting set up, Chris or anyone else on this call, fill it out in the Google Doc, and you could be that POC for anyone else that may want to join you.
Great
Okay,
catch,
sounds
Faisal.
good.
Thanks. All right, well, hope to see you all on Friday. No, go ahead.
For the Google Doc, would I request access to be an editor or just a viewer?
So we're going to be granting you edit access.
Okay. Oh, sure. Thank you.
Yeah, like I said, this is our first time trying something like this, so bear with us.
So, Tyler, I saw you had a question in chat. Are we supposed to be contacting our hometown legislature, or legislators, or the congress people for the district where our schools are located in? It's up to you. I mean, you're both of those are your constituencies of both groups, you know. And if you feel that your lived experiences being in your hometown is more applicable to your situation and tying in with these policy priorities, then talk about that. But if you feel that your lived experiences on your campus at your school is more relatable and you're more comfortable talking about that, then talk about that. And if you have time for both, then do both. It's up to you. This is your experience. You know, make these 3 days what you wish.
And that's really why we here at the SBA headquarters really tried hard not to plan anything on Monday and Wednesday, because we want to give you all the greatest opportunity to make those meetings. And so, Chris, let's say you just are unable to make any type of meeting. Like Faisal and I helped you out. We gave you another name, we gave you another phone number, but just things aren't aligning, or that staffer just isn't available. Doesn't mean when you're here in DC, you can just drop in the office and say, hey, can I speak to the staff member that deals with veterans issue, or the staff member that deals with higher education issues? They'll either quick go get that person or hand you a business card, which then you can follow up. That's the greatest thing about here in DC. You can always, Faisal does that more often than I do. If he's unable to get a meeting and he's on the Hill in between meetings, he'll stop by an office either to see if he can get a quick chat or just gather information for a follow-up. All right, well, thank you all. And like I said, keep an eye out on your email for a copy of this webinar, which then will also have those links outlined for you. And if you haven't already done so, if you can go ahead and register for Washington Week, that gives us an idea of how many of you are coming. And we're just really excited to have you back here in DC at the beginning of March.
Thank you all. See you Friday.
Good to see you. Thank you.
Have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you.